It's good. D. Anderson and the Showboats have won it in overtime. Going to hand this off up the middle for Marable. He's going to fumble. Ball's loose. And St. Louis picks it up. That will do it. The Battlehawks defense makes a play late. Game on the line. Looking to throw. Has time. End zone. Incomplete. It's incomplete. The Stallions hang on to win. For overtime, DeLeo to throw, pass, caught by Roland, needs some help, not gonna get it, he's stopped a yard short. Houston will pull off the upset. Looking to throw, has time, deep, right side overthrown, picked off. It's intercepted by Keenan Isaac. He's gonna need it right there. If they hand this off right side for Roland, they convert the 10-5. Chris Roland, I should shut up. Chris Roland touchdown. That's the dagger. Knicks toss left side and there's room. Has past the 30, past the 40, past the 20, 15, 10, 5. RJ Harvey. There we go. One play. Just need one play out of you. Gonna play action and look to throw. Mariota, sometime. Pass, intercepted. It's picked off. Yes, yes. One play was all they needed. Jack Jones. Williams, play action. Rolling left, looking to throw. Has time. Pass, end zone, intercepted. It's Keyshawn Nixon calling game. Darnold to throw. Has time. Pass, wide open. Over the middle. The Seattle Seahawks do it. Play action looking to throw. Williams has some time. Pass deep. Over the middle. Has a man. It's DJ Moore. Touchdown Chicago. They win in overtime. Snap good. Hold good. Kick up. And he missed it. Wide right. The Steelers will host Houston on Monday night. Williams in shotgun. Back to his right. 3 receiving options to the left. 4th and 4. Trip to Seattle on the line. Man in motion. Williams looking to throw. Pressure coming. Rolling left. Trying to buy some time. Back near the 40. Pass left side. Williams is caught. Touchdown Chicago. Cole Kmet. Somehow the magic remains. What? May looking to throw in 3rd and 6. Rolling left. Gonna take it himself. And that will do it. A first down carry. It's a gain of 7. And the Patriots have booked their ticket to Santa Clara. Zeros on the clock. The Seattle Seahawks, for the first time since 2014, are your NFC champion. Hello, everybody, and welcome on in. Week 10 continues after the Dallas Renegades beat the St. Louis Battlehawks last night. We have the Houston Gamblers taking on the Birmingham Stallions today. The Stallions, this is a must-win for them. They win, they keep the playoff hopes alive for one more week. They lose, and the Louisville Kings will clinch a spot, it seems. But welcome on in. Kickoff moments away, and what should be an interesting one. Houston can be without 4 very key players for this game. The first, Anthony Hines, was waived in between weeks. He is now back with the DC Defenders. We'll see him tomorrow. The other 3, Marcus Burns, Marcus Yarns, and Jalen Moreno-Cropper, all 3 very key pieces to this team, are all inactive for today's game, not because of injury, but because they have NFL tryouts in the coming weeks, so they want to make sure that they are healthy for those, and they can potentially find their way to a roster in the fall. So Houston going to be short-manned in this game. Not like that has stopped them before to win games, so they still very much have a chance in this, especially with Hunter Deckers being healthy enough to play tonight. Him being healthy, him being behind center is that alone is going to give him a very solid chance in this game. So we shall see. But welcome on in. Kickoff is moments away from Birmingham. The final home game of the Stallions this season, and depending on how the offseason goes, potentially the final game for the Stallions. Again, I think they should be given another year at the very least. The Stallions belong in the UFL and in spring football. I would be shocked if they get relocated, but you never know with this league and with how Mike Rapoli views things. So we'll see how this game goes. Also announced earlier, this I might probably go into a bit more detail with tomorrow when Orlando plays, but We do have a neutral site playoff game in the UFL due to some scheduling issues surrounding Orlando and Inter Stadium and due to FIFA and the World Cup and all that. So that's a tough situation to have happen there. But I'm probably going to a bit more details with it tomorrow when Orlando plays DC, because there's a few other things playing a factor in that, including where it's going to be played and where the neutral site's going to be. But the focus on this is Birmingham and Houston for the time being. Got about roughly 3 or so minutes left until kickoff based off of the Jumbotron there in Birmingham. And it looks like they got a pretty solid sized crowd for the final home game of the season. Though we shall see. It was a rough start to the year for the Stallions. They eventually worked their way back. I mean, just 2 weeks ago, they were in that final playoff spot. And then things kind of just continued, and then things went south again. We'll see if they can, have a good turnaround right at the end. But time will tell. As there's Dorian Thompson-Robinson, not having the best of seasons as his first time getting starts. But I think it's enough to where I think you go back to him for next year. At least, have him on the roster and see if, and allow him to compete to be the starter from week 1. But again, the offseason discussions are going to be interesting in the UFL. Which I'll get to, obviously as UFL news released over the offseason, I'll get to as much as I can. But most UFL offseason news drops right in the middle of the NFL season, so that's, we'll see. And they were talking to, I'm shocked that Malik Fisher was not also waived before this game, because he's someone I would have liked to see in the playoffs and potentially competing for a spot. But we will see. Houston had that tough loss last week to St. Louis, in part because of the injuries to Hunter Deckers, or him getting banged up at least. Again, with him being healthy enough to play in this one, I do expect this game to be competitive. At the very least, the last time these two teams played, it was a very competitive game that came down to the wire. But it was a game that Houston was able to move the ball pretty well in. It had a lot of red zone trips back in week 2. They just couldn't necessarily capitalize on all of them. As it seems like Houston will be getting the ball first in this one. I wouldn't put it past them wanting to get out to a hot start. Yeah, it's a sizable crowd. Oh, so Deckers is listed as the starter on the depth chart. He was not listed as an active. Are they still gonna go with Plumlee to begin this? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. They're eliminated from playoff contention. Plumlee was we pretty sure was a first round pick for Houston a few years back. They want to see what they have in him. But I'm shocked to see that he's still the starter. Okay. I would just imagine we see Deckers at some point, though, nonetheless. But we shall see. And I'm cool watching John Rice Plumlee play. And I'm here with assumingly if he is, if he was always envisioned being a starter, because the UFL was very bad with injury reports and stuff throughout the week, so don't fully know who was getting reps when. Assuming he got most of the first team reps in practice this week, I imagine he's going to be more prepared for this game. But we'll see. Houston set to return. There's Deckers on the sideline without his helmet on. He's in full uniform, so I imagine he can play if need be. But kickoff is underway, going to be returned beginning from the 3, base out past the 25, past the 30, and down to about the 32. That's where Houston will start, and out comes former UCF Knight, John Rice Plumlee. During his time in UCF, he played well. He had a lot of fun games during his time with UCF. It was always fun to watch. His final year with the Knights ended short He got injured in a game against Boise State. That was a great win for UCF, but that was kind of like the beginning of the end, it felt, as well, because of Plumlee getting hurt that year. Yeah, like if Plumlee doesn't get hurt against that game against Boise State back in 2023, UCF probably has a decent year that year. Plumlee in shotgun back to his right, 3 receivers to the left. Gonna hand this off up the middle, first play of the game, and that's a gain of roughly 5 there for Jalen White. So Jalen White gonna be the bell cow back, it seems, for Houston tonight. As again, Marcus Yarns not gonna be playing. He has an NFL tryout scheduled at some point after the season ends. So he's one of 3 gamblers that is not playing due to that and wanted to make sure they're still healthy for that tryout, which are completely understandable. You're already eliminated. I'm fine with it. Another handoff up the middle for Jalen White. Going to be a gain of roughly 6. Should be enough for the first. They're going to mark him just shy, though. A 3rd and inches coming up. All right. Yeah, Jalen White back in week 2 against Birmingham had a solid game. Season high 82 yards in that one, looking to replicate it, and now they're giving him the first down there. So Plumlee in shotgun back to his right. 3 receivers to the right as well. Gonna play action, look to throw, rolling right, dump off right side, gonna be a just off the mark and incomplete, looking for John Trey Kirkland. That was a good play call, though. That's the exact play call I would expect early on in this game. A bootleg to get Plumlee, to cut the field in half for Plumlee and get him into a rhythm with simple passes. John Trey Kirkland was open, just gotta put it on him. Plumlee in shotgun back behind him, 2 receiving options to each side. Gonna play action, look to throw once again, rolling right, passing right, a little bit behind, but gonna be caught along the sideline up near the 35. It's Lawrence Keys on the grab, and the Gamblers are past midfield on the opening drive. The chemistry between Plumlee and Lawrence Keys, we've seen it briefly, especially we saw it more so last week. But that seems to be his go-to target. For some reason, them two just have a good chemistry that has been built. But obviously, you would like more to be built with the other guys on this roster. Plumlee in shotgun, back to his right, 2 receivers to each side. Going to look to throw once again, quick pass right side, caught by Kirkland. The blockers can't get out there in time. It's a loss of roughly 2 on the receiver screen. Maybe to say a loss of 3. All right. So a 2nd and long situation. Plumlee and shotgun back behind him, and there will be a stoppage. The ball moved a bit there. All right. Plumlee and shotgun back behind him, 3 receiving options to the left. Ball on the 38 of Birmingham. Gonna end around this one, right side for Kirkland, who's looking to throw. Pass right side's well underthrown and intercepted inside the 10 at the 8. It's Trey Norwood on the INT, and the opening drive for Houston will stall out. And we'll see Dorian Thompson-Robinson in this Birmingham offense with the ball inside their own 10-yard line. I like the trickery. It's a deep throw for a receiver to make is not the easiest. Yeah, that's one where Kirkland needs to just throw it away. I get having confidence in your abilities, but like, come on. Now, if that was a quarterback throwing that ball, the mindset would instead be he needs to get it out there more. But for John Trey Kirkland, I'm not gonna be like he needs to put more effort. He needs to put more into it because he's a receiver. Not sure how much more into it he can put into it. So DTR and shotgun back to his left, 3 receiving options to the left. Gonna hand this off up the middle, and that's going to be past the 10 and down to about the 13 for Tyron Davis-Price. Gonna be a 2nd and 6. And just under 12 minutes to play in the first. DTR and shotgun back to his right. 3 receivers to the right as well. Man in motion, going to look to throw. DTR trying to get something in here. Ball comes loose in the end zone. He eventually picks it up and pass will be deflected out of bounds. Just a mess of a play there for DTR. Trying to get this, I'm assuming a tight end screen going. It got blown up pretty quickly, and he just kept going backwards. Yeah. Not, it was trying to just get a screen going for Davis Price. It ends up being kind of open, but ball slips. Nearly a disaster play for Birmingham. There was Kerry Vincent first into the backfield for Houston. Now a 3rd and 6. In shotgun, back to his right, going to look to throw. Pass over the middle is caught, going to be enough for the first, just past the 20 and down to the 21s, a gain of 8. It's Jaden Mickens on the grab, the former DC defender. Going to be a very key piece in today's game if the Stallions can try and win and keep their playoff hopes alive. I think the exact situation is they need a win, they need Louisville to lose, and they need DC to win. I believe that's the money trio there for them. DTR looking to throw once again. Pass over the middle, going to be caught by Deion Kane. It's up to about the 26. So gain of 5. Yeah. DC winning's the big thing because I'm pretty sure as long as it's a 3-way tiebreaker or a 3-way tie, Birmingham does not get in. That's been a whole discussion this past week. DTR and shotgun back to his left, 3 receiving options to the right, can play action and look to throw. Pass deep right side, going to be well overthrown and incomplete. Not sure who he was throwing to there. This is a 3rd and 5 coming up. Let me pull up the exact playoff clinching scenarios for this week. Oh, they're calling intentional grounding here against DTR as well. Okay. Yeah, so Louisville has the easiest path in. Louisville, either they beat Columbus tomorrow and they're in. Stallions lose today. Louisville is in. Or if Orlando wins tomorrow against DC, the Kings are in. Stallions, they need to win. They need DC to win. And they need Louisville to lose. So it's going to be an interesting 3 games coming up. 3rd and 15 on the horizon for the Stallions after the intentional ground in. 10:07 to play in the first, and the clock will begin to run. Not been the cleanest of starts for this offense. So DTR and shotgun back to his left. 3 receivers to the right, going to look to throw. Dump off left side to Davis Price, going to have some space. Past the 20 and down to about the 22. Not going to be enough for the first. There'll be a 4th and roughly 9 coming up, and the Stallions can't do anything off the interception. They will punt. Yeah, the best case scenario for the league is we have the Stallions win. Because they're going to want to make sure that the Kings Aviators game is a potential like win and in scenario. Punt comes off clean. Going to be returned beginning from the 25. Some space past the 35 and brought down right around the 40. Yeah, best case is they have Birmingham and DC winning, leading into the Louisville game. As we head to commercial break. All right. At commercial break. All right, so opening drive for both teams. Nothing too special happening, but kind of to be expected with this matchup. I'm not expecting a lot of theatrics with it, more so just a close game that comes down to the end, which is fine. The other QBs for Birmingham, I mean, it's Donovan Smith and Michael Ayers. Not two you don't really want to put out there. The really only DTR is the guy for the Stallions. Like Michael Ayers has shown flashes in previous years, but he's nowhere near polished enough to be playing in a must-win game. That's kind of the other side of things. Yep, still at commercial break. We await the second drive for Houston. I mean, yeah, but at the same time, I don't see either of those two being potential future starters for the Stallions. They're more so proper backups. So that's why it's more so like DTR gets this week to put on more tape out there, see what happens there. And then maybe you bring him back next year with someone else that could be a proper starter and have them compete. Kind of like the opposite situation that Houston has going on. Where in theory, where on paper, Houston has a few guys that could be proper starters. All right, Plumlee and shotgun back behind him. Two receiving options to each side. Hand off up the middle. Gonna find a space to get about two. Not much else going there. Jalen White on the carry. If this game gets out of hand, then yeah, you throw them out there. But as long as this game is close, DTR does still technically give you the best case scenario. Plumlee and shotgun and back to each side. 8:20 to play in the first quarter. Ball now on their own 42. Plumlee, play action, looking to throw, rolling left. Has some time, trying to dump this off, and it's more so a throwaway. 3rd and 8 coming up. What's up? Yeah, Houston's defense has been solid this year. It's just the offensive inconsistencies have killed them. Because they've played 4 different quarterbacks. No one, the defenses have been cooking so far. Trey Norwood got an interception on the Houston's opening drive. It's been the defenses. Plumlee play action, looking to throw on 3rd and 8. Pass right side can be caught for the first, just past midfield and down to about the Birmingham 47. Jontre Kirkland on the grab. All right. Again, keeping things a bit simple for Plumlee early on. I hope throughout the game we see things get a bit more complex as he gets more comfortable, but that wasn't fully the case last week, so who knows. Plumlee going to keep it himself right side, has some speed to get the sideline, enough for the first, a gain of roughly 11. Again, his speed and athleticism is a massive advantage that Plumlee has. His arm is going to need some time to get back to what we saw from it at UCF. But if it can, and hell, if we can get even better than that, I mean, he could be a solid player in this league. Plumlee and shotgun back to his left. 3 receivers to the left as well. Ball now on the Birmingham 35. Looking to throw. Pass left side. Can he be caught? And that's a gain of roughly 4. It is Cam Sutton on the grab. And yeah, that tight end connection. Even during his time at UCF, not necessarily the tight ends, but Plumlee loved throwing it and throwing up 50-50 balls for the the taller receivers that UCF had during that era. Plumlee in shotgun, back to his right. 3 receivers to the right as well. Going to look to throw once again. Pressure coming, escapes to his right. Will take it himself. Has a blocker inside the 15 and sliding down around the 12. And it will be a 1st and 10 for Houston inside the red zone for the first time today. And again, that's speed of John Rice Plumlee. You're going to want him to use his legs as much as he can. It's one thing that last week wasn't really utilized. Against St. Louis, he never really tried to scramble like he has so far in this one. And when he has, he was contained pretty well. In shotgun, back to his left. Gonna hand this off up the middle, and that's a loss of roughly 3 for Marcus Major. It'll be a 2nd and 13 coming up. As that was TJ Carter in the backfield instantly. So Plumlee in shotgun, gonna play action and fake an end around with some time to throw. Pass right side, gonna be off the mark and incomplete. Cam Sutton couldn't quite corral it. 3rd and 13 coming up. Well, on the scramble, they sent 2. Birmingham had 2 free rushers. It's just neither of them were playing to contain. If you're gonna send 2 free rushes like that, one of them should contain, one of them should target the quarterback. They both targeted Plumlee, and he just avoided both of them easily. In shotgun, back to his right, looking to throw in 3rd and 13. Pressure coming, pass right side, going to be off the mark and incomplete. Looking for the front corner of the end zone. Couldn't quite connect there as Caden Davis was the intended target. And Houston will stall out, and out comes John Hoyland. Yeah. Oh yeah, it was a busted play, but that's part of the magic with Plumlee. Is he has enough speed and mobility to make busted plays into something. 33-yard kick from the right hash. It is up, and it is right down the middle. John Hoyland's another player that I could see make the jump to an NFL roster, at least for training camp, because he's been pretty efficient as well on the season. Not the strongest of legs with a long of 56 this season, but he's now 17 for 21 on field goals this year. That's not a bad ratio. As we head to commercial break. At commercial break. Yeah, tonight's game 7 in the Western Conference Finals. That's gonna be a fun game to watch. I'm excited for it. The entire Western Conference Finals have been interesting. The entire Western playoffs have been fun. Yep, at commercial break. There is roughly 6 or so minutes left in the first quarter. I can double check real quick. There's 4:05 left in the first quarter. 4 minutes, 5 seconds. So still plenty of time in this. It's only a 3-point game. Yeah, he was, but he during his first stint with the Houston Gamblers, he did a decent enough job. I'm curious if they went with, because when the two leagues combined for the UFL, it was a very weird like changing of the guard almost. Because it was partially the Houston Gamblers like roster, but it was also the Houston Roughnecks Brandon and then brought in CJ Johnson to be the head coach. When I feel like if they kept Kevin Sumlin throughout those early times with it, they probably could have, and just kept the Houston Gamblers as a whole, it probably would have been an easier transition for them. But oh well. Yeah. So right before that game, the week prior, it was a fun time for Vandy. Vanderbilt football is a very like 2-year peak, and then a few years of like being meh. Kickoff underway, going to be returned beginning from the 5, spaced out past the 35, past the 40. It's a foot race with a penalty down. Dion Kane is gone. It's a kickoff return touchdown for Dion Kane. But what's the penalty? This is probably going to be coming back. Yep, it's Holden against Birmingham. That's now the second return touchdown that's been called back in 2 weeks. Louisville had one called back last week, and that one's going to be called back due to a holding against Marlon Williams. Who Marlon Williams has been not utilized this season the way I thought he was going to. Last year, he was a solid player for Birmingham. And then they just have not found a use for him, in part because they added a ton of other receiver talent to that room. But even like now, I feel like he should be getting some more chances. So 1st and 10. DTR and shotgun back to his right, gonna hand this off up the middle, and that's gonna be a gain of only about a yard for Tyron Davis Price. So 2nd and 9 coming up. 3.5 to play in the first quarter. DTR and shotgun back to his right, 2 receivers to each side, and there's a ton of movement up front before the snap. Gonna be a false start against the Stallions. So 2nd and 14 coming up off of it. Gonna be a call against Dion Kane. Right. You know, any offense becoming one-dimensional is not great. Birmingham especially. As pressure comes quick on 2nd and 14, and he is sacked back near the 15-yard line. Malik Fisher in the backfield. And it's a 3rd and long coming up for the Stallions. Malik Fisher in there quick, doing what he does best. And it'll be a 3rd and roughly 20 coming up. $2:25 to play in the first quarter. DTR alone in shotgun. 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Ball on their own 15, looking to throw, and there is a stoppage before the snap. Delay of game against the Stallions being called. Now is a 3rd and 25 from their own 10. Things are getting ugly. Yeah. This is not a great start for the Stallions in a must-win game. Though if you're the Louisville Kings, you're looking on being pretty happy right now. In shotgun, back to his left, going to attempt to hand this off up the middle, it seems. Then tries to keep it himself as the play gets botched, and Malik Fisher brings him down behind the line near the 6-yard line. Not sure what was happening there. It looked like it was supposed to be yeah, no. It was just a delayed QB keeper that got sniffed out pretty quick. All right, so 4th and 29. Birmingham gonna punt this from deep in their own end zone. Yeah, I mean, even during his time with Cleveland, we saw that from DTR. That's kind of an issue with him. Which like, there's ways to scheme it where he doesn't have to be under pressure often. They're just not doing that. Kickoff returned, punt return past midfield and down to about the 45 of Birmingham. So Houston gonna have great starting field position with 1 minute to play in the first quarter. Yep, 2 games tomorrow. It begins at noon as Orlando takes on DC. And then at 6, Louisville and Columbus. Again, there is one path to the playoffs for Birmingham. It starts with a win today. They lose, Louisville clinches. Plumlee looking to throw in 1st and 10, and the ball comes loose. Gonna be picked up by the Stallions. Space past the 20, the 15, the 10, the 5. It's a scoop and score for the Stallions. Not sure what happened there. Oh, and now they're saying it's incomplete. That's that being called incomplete is questioning. Houston might be getting a bit lucky there, Liz. Okay, yeah, no, that's... Yeah, it goes forward, yeah. That ball definitely slips out of his hands, though. It just so happens it was on a forward motion. He was trying to pump fake that. And now there's movement before the snap. Gonna be a false start against Houston. 43 seconds to play in the first quarter. All right. So 2nd and 15. Plumlee in shotgun, back to his right, looking to throw. Rolling right, has some time, will take it himself. Past the 40, 35, and sliding down right around the 30. It's a 20-yard scramble for John Rice Plumlee. And it's a 1st and 10 Houston as the clock will run down to the end of the first, most likely. Yeah, it's good blocking up front. The blocking up front picks up the blitz and picks up the blitz and forces them inside to give Plumlee the edge along the right side to be able to pick it up with his legs. And that'll be the end of the first quarter. 15 minutes in the books. Houston leads by 3 in what's been a defensive matchup to begin this Saturday. On the lone game this Saturday. And we head to commercial break. It's a must-win for the Stallions. Going to be honing that in the entire game. the Stallions are sending most of their blitz packages and their pressure off the right side. It's just no one's trying to contain. Or in that instance, they just get blocked inside. But if you're gonna blitz, you need to first try to contain as the main. Like the first mindset should be contain. Second mindset should be sack. Is when you're playing a quarterback like Plumlee. Because if he's stepping up in the pocket, going to your defensive lineman, that's fine because they probably have you there. But like you want to force him to beat you with his arm. If you can force him to throw a lot, that is where you're gonna win this game. If you're gonna allow him to pick up 20 easily with his legs, it's gonna be a long one for the Stallions today. But at commercial break for the end of the first. But at commercial break. Yeah, putting a spy on him as well. But the thing with putting a spy on someone like Plumlee is that's removing a speedy player on the back end. When you're going against a receiver room that has some speed to it, that has some speed to it, they obviously probably could afford to put like a safety as a spy, but you can't put a linebacker spy on him. It wouldn't work. You'll need a safety to creep into the box, which then that could cause some other issues. All right, just coming back from commercial break. Plumlee in shotgun, back to his left. 3 receivers to the left as well. Ball on their own 30. The ball on the Birmingham 30. First and 10 after the pickup of 20 from John Rice Plumlee. In shotgun, looking to throw right side, and that's going to be well underthrown and incomplete. Pressure was getting there. Got that pressure quick up the middle. And pressure quick up the middle. You had the outside guys contain. It worked. But that was also an instant beat on the bull rush. So second and 10. In shotgun, back to his right. Gonna hand this off going left for Jalen White, and that's a gain of about 2. Yeah, the Birmingham offensive line, the entire season has not been great, but there's ways to work around it. So 3rd and 8. Plumlee alone in shotgun. 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Looking to throw. Pass over the middle is going to be caught. Inside the 20 to the 17 with a penalty down. We'll see what this is. Well, that's Armani Rogers on the great dive and grab. What's going to be the penalty? It's DPI against the Stallions. That will be declined. It will be a 1st and 10 pickup for Houston. So 14 minutes to play in the first half. That's a great grab. Plumlee in shotgun, back to his right. 2 receivers to each side. Play action looking to throw. Rolling right. Will pass this back over the middle. Caught inside the 5. And down to the threes, Javonte Payton on the grab. So first and goal coming up. Yo. It's first and goal for Houston. Plumlee's starting to find a rhythm, though. I'll give him that. Hell yeah. All right, Plumlee and shotgun back to his left. Gonna hand this off up the middle. And that's Marcus Major fighting in, but gonna be marked just shy. As some of that pushing was done by his teammate pushing on his back, which is not allowed in the UFL. So he'll be marked down at the 1 yard line. Yeah. Jalen McKenzie, the right tackle, pushed him from behind. And since they banned the tush push, the counterpoint of that is banning plays like that. Another handoff up the middle for Marcus Major. And this time, he's gonna fall forward and is in. Houston extends this lead. Kind of a ball don't lie moment there, but the Gamblers are up by 9. The extra point will make it a 2-possession lead. Bit too easy. Yeah. The Stallions in the playoffs would be something. I mean, I think to a degree they'd be able to compete depending on who they play, but for the most part, yeah. Extra point up, and the Gamblers lead by 10. All right. That was a pretty damn good drive for Houston as we head to commercial break. Not bad. At commercial break. Yeah, I mean, it sucks because DTR has shown the signs of being a really good quarterback. He just can't put. He just has not been able to put it together each week consistently, which is the tough part. But if you build around him well enough, I think this is a team that could have been able to compete this year. Yeah. I'm just curious. I'm just curious on who they're gonna get for next year. I'm also curious about what the offense as a whole is gonna look like because I feel like just a change in offensive system might be in order. Yeah, that's true as well. It gets rattled too easily. Which I mean, the easy like mindset fix to tell him is just he has good mobility, trust his legs to be able to escape and keep the play alive. He did it against Orlando. Against Orlando, he was able to do that just fine. I'm shocked he hasn't been able to do it since. But we'll see. As we should be coming out of commercial break here soon. All right, just coming back from commercial break. We await Houston to send this one down. Yeah, there's still plenty of time left in this game, so who knows? Still plenty of time left. All right, John Hoyland on to send this one down. Dion Kane back to return for the Stallions. Kickoff underway. And that's going to be into the end zone for a touchback. And now they're going to re-kick, seemingly. Okay. Not sure why we re-kicking, but that's what they just said. Oh, was it the wind? Yeah, so out comes the punter to hold for the kickoff. All right, kickoff underway. Going to bounce and go out of bounds. So Birmingham will start from their own 40 on this drive, looking to cut into this deficit. All right, so pretty good on the field position. This is the moment here for DTR. This is the best on the field position they're gonna have today, most likely. Oh, is DTR's headset in his helmet not working for a period there? Gonna hand this off up the middle on 1st and 10. Gonna be a gain of roughly 5 for Snoop Connor. Honestly, if a lot of that last drive was DTR having to make stuff up, I could see why there's issues with it. All right, 2nd and 5. DTR and shotgun back to his left. 3 receiving options to the right. Midfield is the first down marker. In shotgun, gonna hand this off right side for Snoop Connor, and he's gonna fall forward for about half a yard. Not much else. So a 3rd and roughly 5 coming up. Just about 11:15 to play in the half. DTR alone in shotgun. 4 receivers to the left. Looking to throw. Quick pass right side. Gonna be incomplete. But there's a penalty down. They gonna call this a DPI here? Yep, DPI against Houston. So that'll be an automatic first down. Should be put in the Stallions past midfield for the first time today. Yeah. That's a call that's very dependent on the referee crew. I've seen that not be called plenty of times. The ball in midfield. DTR handoff up the middle. That's going to lose a yard. And now there's a penalty in the backfield as well. Would be a second and 11, but what's the penalty? All right, they're picking up the penalties. So 2nd and 11 coming up. Not bad. In shotgun, back to his left, 2 receiving options to each side. Going to look to throw in 2nd and 11. Pass right side, wide open is Jordan Thomas. Enough for the first. Gonna stiff arm his way to roughly I believe that's the 30, probably the 41-yard line. Oh yeah, the Kings are for sure watching this game, because if the Stallions lose, they're in. I know it's out of bounds around the 36. In shotgun, back to his right, 3 receiving options to the left. Gonna hand this off up the middle, and that's gonna be a loss of about half a yard for Snoop Connor. Charlie Thomas in the backfield instantly. The 2nd and 10.5 coming up. 9.5 to play in the first half. DTR and shotgun, back to his right, 3 receivers to the left. Play clock winding down, under 10 seconds to go. DTR gonna look to throw, pass left side into double coverage, is high and incomplete. Dangerous throw there, 3rd and 10 coming up. I don't know what he was seeing. It seemed like there was seems like there was a Birmingham receiver that slipped on his route there, but still. All right, DTR and shotgun, back to his right, 2 receivers to each side. Ball on the Houston 36, going to look to throw. Pressure coming, dump off right side, going to be caught. Trying to find some space, going to maybe get a yard is Snoop Connor. Malik Fisher, one of 3 gamblers to meet him at the line. Going to be a 4th and roughly 9 coming up, as there is also a gambler down in the backfield. Slow to get up. We'll have a brief stoppage with 8.5 to play in the first half. Yeah, and yeah, those are the 3 like main points. You can also probably include secondary in there, but I'm still on the side of this secondary has the talent. They just haven't been able to put it together as much this season as years past. So, if you get better coaching in there, maybe it'll help. We'll see. Oh, yeah, that's true as well. The players got to end up making the play, but coaching does also play a factor in it to a degree. But add commercial break for the injury timeout. Add commercial break. Yeah, that was announced on like Thursday. It sucks, but I mean, there was a once Zonka, I believe it was Zonka in his memoir or in the interview, he mentioned how like yeah, as the years go, there's less and less of that team still remaining. So that's probably the reason why like I'm trying to find as many like books or interviews as I can about with them. Part of me wants to do a video at some point on that team. Because I have a book that's off to the side that is just chock full of interviews that they did, and it was a great read. I kind of want to go back to it. But yeah. There's still that commercial break. Oh yeah, 70s and 80s. There's a ton of great 70s as well, but just in general, it's part of the reason why NFL coverage feels better than NBA and like other sports coverage is because of how much respect that the cross generation players have for each other. So the TV analysts that are former players have this better mindset with it, and we're starting to see that with the NBA as well, with like Amazon's team and NBC's team. But like, there's so much respect between players from generations, and the fans have that respect as well because those highlights are still fun to watch. Like, still fun to watch. Like, you can go watch Jerry Rice 80s highlights and still feel and still be as energetic as watching current day highlights. Whereas if you watch like older NBA stuff, the game's just not as entertaining. So people don't end up watching it and understanding it. 53-yard kick from the right hash. It is up and it is just off to the right. It is no good. Remains a 10-point Houston lead. Yeah, I'm not massive into NASCAR and that stuff either, but it still sucks whenever someone passes unexpectedly like that. Well, he was 41 and was scheduled to race like a few weeks after. Like, it's a tough spot. Plumlee gonna hand this off up the middle, and there's space for Kirk Merritt. It's a foot race past the 30 to 25 and past the 20, fighting his way down to the Birmingham 15. It's Kirk Merritt on the carry. And Houston's already in business to extend this lead, thanks to the 43-yard run. Yeah, well, a large part of the pageantry that's different between back then and now is just the popularity of the league is vastly different. Like they needed all like the special like random mascots and extra like entertainment shows and stuff during the game to try and get people into the stadium. Whereas now, whereas now the NFL is just that popular where people are gonna go no matter what's there. Handoff up the middle can be a gain of roughly 2 or so. And again, like, I was working on a video that's now scrapped. But I was working on a video that had me watching a bunch of old 70s games, like late 70s stuff, and I was seeing some funny pageantry going on that if you try nowadays would get laughed at the building with, but yeah, for the time it was nice. Plumlee rolling right, gonna taking himself inside the 5 and untouched and in. Houston up by 16 now with John Rice Plumlee getting his second rushing touchdown as a member of the Houston Gamblers. It's an 11-yard scramble. And Houston's in business plenty. On TV, the crowd looks decent. Like, it looks good. I would venture probably close to like that 8K mark, which would be nice for the final one, but we'll see what the actual numbers are. Yeah, the lack of contain from this Birmingham front. And that's part of it where it's coaching. Like, the coach needs to get to those guys and tell them to focus on containing instead of actually trying to get pressure and getting home. Extra points up and good. The coach needs to tell them to start containing, and the coach needs to adjust to put a spy and to put the contains in the forefront. I'm not shocked by that. Oh yeah, if Skip was still the coach, this is probably a different season for the Stallions. Like I still think AJ McCarron can be a good coach, just maybe not head coach. I think if he goes similar to what kind of the path that Josh McCown is on now, where he's a quarterback coach first, and then he learns from there. I think maybe McCarron could find his way back on like in a proper coaching role. I just don't think he like a head coach. Like instantly being a head coach was the smart move. Kickoff underway. 6.5 to 6:50 to play in the second quarter. There. Kickoff can be returned past the 20 and down to about the 25. Yeah, I just think of all the of all the first time head coaches, I think McCarron was the weirdest because he legit has like no prior experience. At least with Ted Ginn, I'm pretty sure he's done stuff at lower levels before. But even then, like Ted Ginn, probably not going to be the coach there much longer either. Yeah, it was tough for Skip to be forced out because he so clearly loves the Stallions, loves his team. I'm curious if they're gonna crawl back to him in the offseason. ETR looking to throw pass left side, gonna be caught then dropped, picked up by Houston and ruling it a fumble. It's a scoop and score for the Gamblers. And now there's a penalty down as well. What's the It was Justin Ross, the receiver. Are they gonna say he had possession long enough? Mike Pierre is gonna take a look at this. A slight bobble. Does he have? I know he doesn't have possession long enough. I don't think. After review is gonna be called incomplete. After the play, there's a personal foul call against Houston, which will be tacked on to an automatic first. Okay, so it ends up being a gain of 15 for the Stallions. Yeah, I'm very curious about what happens with specifically AJ McCarron and Ted Ginn. I think everyone else is gonna be fine. Chris Redmond deserves to return next year. He has been fantastic as a coach after that rough start. He has legit improved from those early games. It's been a wonder to see. DTR and shotgun looking to throw, rolling to his right, going to be a gain of about 2 or 3. Like Chris Redmond, for a first time head coach, he has done great jobs in Louisville. Like even some of those losses earlier on in the season weren't necessarily because of coaching, but just because of Jason Bean being not the greatest of quarterbacks. Rick Neuheisel in Dallas, there's signs there for him as well, especially after the win last night. I think he'll be safe. And obviously the playoff teams are going to be fine. DTR play action pass right side for Jordan Thomas, going to have some space for the first and out of bounds for roughly about 13 or so. And then, yeah, Kevin Sumlin as well. Like, Kevin, the improvement that this Houston defense has had from the first month of the season to the second final 6 weeks has been night and day. So I think Kevin Sumlin's going to be safe as well in Houston. So the more like important questions is what happens with McCarron and Ted Ginn. All right, just past midfield on the Houston 47. DTR and shotgun going to hand this off up the middle. Breaks off one defender, going to be brought down right around the 41. There was a gain of 6 for Anthony McFarland. And it'll be a second and roughly 4 coming up. 5 minutes to play in the first half. DTR and shotgun back to his left, 3 receivers to the right. Another handoff up the middle for McFarland, gonna only get about a yard. Not much else room to work. Yeah, again, I'm not shocked that people are starting to leave, which is unfortunate. For this being a must-win game in the final home game of the season, you would expect more of a fight from Birmingham, but they just have not fully done that yet. DTR looking to throw in 3rd and 3. Pressure coming, trying to escape. Has some time, passing deep right side. It's there. It's incomplete. Justin Ross can't hang on through the contact. It'll be a 4th and 3 coming up. Eli Walker with the hit to force it loose. And we'll see what the Stallions decide to do here. Yeah, that's one that you would like to see Justin Ross catch. Yeah, again, Adrian McCarron, I'm curious to see what happens with... I'm curious to see what the decision is made there with Adrian McCarron. In shotgun, back to his left, 2 receivers to the right, a 4th and roughly 3. Going to look to throw, pressure coming, sidestepping left, passing left, going to be low and incomplete. It's a turnover on downs. And with 3.5 to play before halftime, the Gamblers can extend this lead. As Birmingham does get ball to begin the second half, but they're in a tough spot. I mean, yeah. I get that mindset, but I also just feel like there's a difference between a college coach's first year with a program and a professional level head coach's first year. Because like in college, it's known that like the first year of a coach being there, they're not really gonna have their guys in the building, so it's gonna take time to eventually get their guys in and be able to like have the proper team around them. McCarron came in, the league did a roster reset, and they're still like this. So I think because of that, like there's a lot more against McCarron here. As Birmingham's gonna challenge for a potential DPI. You know, again, Adrian McCarron was playing in the UFL just 2 years ago. He took a year off after being cut by St. Louis, and now he's coaching in Birmingham. So him being hired is both one, getting someone from like that's has good ties to the area to be the coach, and also someone that UFL and spring football fans know their name. And it seems like the Stallions are gonna win this challenge, so DPI will be tacked onto it. Yeah, I know it's rough out there for DTR. Yep, DPI gets added to the play. It'll be 1st and 10 Stallions. They keep the drive alive a bit. Maybe. I'm curious. I'm curious how many discussions McCarron has had with Saban throughout this season. Because like of everyone, of all the first time head coaches in this league this year, McCarron has seemingly the best the best support system in just being able to coach Nick Saban. So I'm curious what their discussions are going to look like, if any. Handoff up the middle for Snoop Connor. Going to have some space for the first. Fights his way inside the 25 and down to about the 23. It'll be 1st and 10 coming up. So 1st and 10, just under 3 minutes to play. In shotgun, back to his left, 3 receivers to the left as well. Ball on the Houston 22. Going to hand this off up the middle, inside the 20 and down to the 19. The Stallions are inside the red zone for the first time today, as the 2-minute warning would be approaching. They do not need to run another play if they don't choose to. Pretty sure it was just 2 national championships, but yeah, still. Like, A.J. McCarron is a proven winner as a player, but as a coach, it's always a different story. So 2nd and 7, and that's the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to play in the first half. It's a 17-point Houston lead. The one benefit, the one potential upside I'll give the Stallions is that Houston is not a good second half team this year. So that could be where they can get, but that's where the tables could turn and all that could come in. But this has not been a good looking first half. Oh yeah, I'm sure that's the case as well, especially at this point in the season, probably because all the spring stuff just ended in the college off season. Meanwhile, McCarron is actively on the sideline. So, but yeah, and also Kalen DeBoer has had some very interesting interview answers when asked about like his mindset as the coach. I know I'm curious how much longer he has as the coach over there. Yeah, well, what he says on the podcast, and then what he says just during the post game presser in general. I would be curious about what he has to say about this, and more so, less about what he has to say about this season. I'm curious about what he has to say about season, less about this game, and more just this season as a whole. Like like a few when we're a few months into the off season, he's had time to go back and properly look back on the season. I'm curious what he'll say in August or September about how he feels the season went. Yeah, we're at commercial break for the 2-minute warning. At commercial break. Two minutes to play. 2 minutes to play in the first half. All right, 2nd and 7, just coming back from commercial break. Gonna need some points here to end the half. All of college football is going to be a bit interesting next year. It feels like there's a few unknowns entering the college football season. And there's movement up front before the snap. Going to be a false start against the Stallions. I was partially expecting Bama to part ways with DeBoer at points last year, but they still managed to turn that season around to a degree and make the CFP. But I was expecting more. I'm sure if there's a season where Bama does not make the college football playoff, probably would be the straw. I would imagine. I think that's the line. DTR going to look to throw in second and 12. Pressure comes quick, and he is sacked. A loss of roughly 10, it seems. That's a tough situation for this offense to be in. Kenny Dyson into the backfield. And it'll be a 3rd and long coming up. Yeah, he instantly blows by that left tackle. Not even close. It's a 3rd and 23 now. A minute 25 to play in the first half. DTR alone in shotgun. 3 receivers to the left. Pressure comes quick. It's Kenny Dyson. Back-to-back plays with a sack. And all of a sudden, Birmingham might be out of field goal range here for Andres Carlson. Back-to-back plays just blowing past that left tackle. Didn't stand a chance. He timed those snaps perfectly. And yeah, Birmingham's back to their own 45-yard line. Not their own, but to the Houston 45-yard line. This drive started in this series started in the red zone. That's tough. I want to say they're one of the best teams, but their defense has been as one of the better defenses over the past like month or so. Yeah. So 4th and 32. And we're under 2 minutes, so they're gonna punt. Oh yeah, they've been very competitive this season. The biggest issue with the Gamblers this year has just been inconsistency at quarterback play. In part because of injuries, but they just have not been a very, very consistent quarterback playing team. Now, if Hunter Deckers comes back next year and is healthy the entire year, they could be a threat. But that's a big if. Houston called their first timeout before the punt. They have 2 timeouts to get into field goal range for John Hoyland. 56 is his season long. As next Sunday, June 7th, is the playoffs. There's a back-to-back. Okay. That's going to be fun. Yeah, college football is much different now, which I'm kind of fine with. I've never been massively into college football. I've always just like having it on. Plumlee dump off right side of Kirk Merritt. Going to be a gain of roughly 5 before getting out of bounds. Hell yeah, appreciate it. Like I keep up with college football because of like the NFL draft and all that, but for the most part, I just more so view it as stuff to have on in the background on Saturdays while I do work for other stuff. In shotgun, back to his left. Going to hand this off up the middle. Has some space for the first down. Is Kirk Merritt on the carry. Going to be a gain of roughly 8. Just under a minute to play in the first half. In shotgun, looking to throw. Pass right side. Going to be caught. And it'll be a gain of about 4 before being stood up. With 45 seconds to play in the half, there will be a clock stoppage with assuming a timeout being called. I don't blame you. There's the second timeout called. But yeah, I would expect Houston to keep most of this coaching staff and this team back for next year. Because it's a very similar season this year for Houston as what last year was. Where it's a rough start, but they're very competitive towards the end of the year. It's just they had some big roster shakeup in between off seasons. So that's part of all of it. Plumlee alone in shotgun. 3 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. Ball on their own 43, going to look to throw. Has some time, rolling left, a flipper left side, going to be out of bounds and incomplete. Trying to flip that to someone, more so just a throwaway. And Birmingham is starting to run a QB spy. They had a spy on that play. It was Tay Crowder on the QB spy. So again, that could be that QB spy could be a difference maker in the second half. Plumlee in shotgun, back to his left, two receivers to each side. There's the QB spy once again. Pass over the middle is incomplete. Should have been picked off by Alex Cook, but couldn't hang on. It'll be a 4th and 5, and now Houston will punt. Oh, that gets tipped there by Tay Crowder as well. Yeah, that barely gets tipped. So a 4th and 5. Punt comes off clean, going to be returned beginning from the 17, out past the 25 and down to about the 27. 25 seconds. 25 seconds for Birmingham. For 25 seconds. And they're just going to kneel this one to halftime. So the Stallions will get ball to begin the second half. They're down by 17. Going to need quite the comeback. But again, Houston has not been a great second half team this season. So there's a chance there. We're at halftime. I will quickly be right back. All right. Back, we're at halftime. Yeah, I get that with the second half. It's been one interesting first half for this one. I'm curious about exactly how the second half. I would not be surprised if we see the Stallions give some false hope in the second half, though, especially early on in it. Oh, the broadcast is talking about the potential of letting go coaches. Or is it more so them talking about the players and who's going to be on the same team next year? Yeah, that's what they're talking about. Yeah, we're at halftime. But at halftime. Yeah, false hope always sucks, but that's kind of just the nature of some second halves and some teams. But in the same boat, like with how these teams have played this season, it's very possible that the Stallions could just miraculously turn things around, but they just have not been playing well this first half. Any potential comeback, I would more so chalk up to false hope. But we're at halftime. At halftime. It's been not exactly how I expect this game to go. Yeah, this is the right score. I was not expecting it to be like this through one half of play, but I mean, I'm also not going to complain too much because it means I'm watching John Rice Plumlee do his thing to a degree. His mobility has been a difference maker. But we've seen signs in that tail end of the first half of Birmingham starting to adjust. So again, if they can just focus on containing Plumlee's legs, and force him to beat them with his arm, they have a chance. But they're also going to need, on the flip side, their own offense to start getting out of their own way. And especially that offensive line starting to block a bit better. Yeah. Again, one of the things I've said since the UFL started is it is an unpredictable league, and it's designed that way for a reason. Because like you can have some of the weirdest scores possible, and there's a lot of parity in the league as well. So I mean, like just last week we had a game that was 13-1 after one quarter of play. So I'm not gonna put anything past his league score wise. Yeah, it's gonna be something for the second half. But there's only one of 3 games remaining. Tomorrow there's 2 games, beginning with at noon with DC and Orlando. Should be a fun one. Louisville and Columbus is my game of the week, though. That's at 6 o'clock EST tomorrow. Stallions by 2.5. Yeah. If through some miracle they come back, you might be able to get that, but I don't know. Their offense has not been playing the greatest. The defense has had chances to really make a difference, but hmm. Oh yeah, last week's loss was something. So, unlike the NFL, where any return on a point after attempt or a touchdown after attempt is 2 points, in the UFL, if a team goes for the extra point or the 1 point try, if you block the extra point and return it, it's worth 1 point. In the NFL, it would be 2. And it's also because the UFL has a 3 point conversion attempt. If you pick six or scoop and score if pick six or scoop and score the 3 point try, you get 3 points. Yeah, 13-1. It's so dude, it's because Columbus blocked the extra point for the Stallions and then returned it for 1 point. Yeah, it makes sense. It's just a bit of an adjustment because that was the first time we've seen that. Yeah, that's what happened. The entire first 5 or so minutes of that game last week was chaotically fun. As was, if you're a Columbus fan or were impartial, the final 5 minutes or 2 minutes were fun in that game as well. Which the TV ratings, we since we're just still at halftime, the TV ratings were fantastic last week. Dallas and Louisville had a consistent 1.5 million viewers the entire game. One game, I forget which one, but one game peaked at close to 3 million. The Columbus and Birmingham game had a very consistent of 1+ million average viewers. TV ratings were great last week for the league. And yeah, part of that is the bleed over from the Indy 500 for some games, but you'll take that because it means people still stuck around. And the second half can be underway here soon. As you have only 52 yards of offense in the first half for the Stallions, despite having 4 more minutes of time of possession. It was not a great first half of play. But we'll see. Yes, the UFL used to be both the XFL and the USFL. Those two leagues merged, and now we have the UFL. Considering the score, there is still a good handful of people in those stands. Yeah. Again, Houston in the second half has not been a great offensive team. We'll see if that changes, but we'll see if that changes. At the same time, though, their defense has been consistent throughout entire games for the past month or so. So with a 17-point cushion, in theory, that should be enough, but we'll see. Stallions begin the second half with the ball. John Hoyland on to send this one down. Dion Kane back to return for the Stallions. Honestly, if Dion Kane wants to just house this, that would be a great way to get back into this one. Someone's wearing a Yankees shirt in the stands. Okay, that's something. And the second half kickoff is underway. Going to be returned beginning from the 7. Some space out past the 20, past the 25. Can be brought down at around the 31. So a decent return. I have Spurs in 7. That's going to be a fun game to watch tonight. Me and my friends have been watching all these playoffs together. So we'll be doing that again tonight. I think it'll be Spurs in 7. But even if it's not, nothing else matters. It's going to be Knicks in 4. I would maybe not Knicks in 4, but I do think the Knicks will end up pulling it off in the finals. I don't know, the way that they've been playing has just been very impressive. In shotgun, back to his left, DTR will hand this off up the middle, and that's a gain of about 2 for Anthony McFarlane. I mean, if you can get the ground game going into a rhythm, you might be able to. That might be able to help, but yeah, it's gonna take a lot. So in shotgun, back to his left, 3 receivers to the right, Dorian Thompson-Robinson in shotgun. Play action looking to throw, rolling right, the dump off going to be caught by Anthony McFarlane. It's a gain of roughly 3. Okay. Yes, it is Stallion ball. 3rd and 4. I'm also thinking it might be able to open up DTR's legs a bit. If you get some read options or RPOs going. In shotgun, back to his right. 3 receivers to the left. Going to look to throw on 3rd and 4. Pressure coming. Pass over the middle is off the mark and incomplete. Looking for Justin Ross, who slipped on the top of his route. It will be a 3 and out to begin the second half for the Stallions. And that's certainly not going to help things in this. Oh yeah, Justin Ross is wide open if he didn't slip there. That's a tough miss. So punt comes off clean. Going to bounce and take a Houston bounce. Eventually downed right around the 33 after it bounced closer to the 20. So let's see what Houston can do for their first drive of the second half. And out comes John Rice Plumlee. He has definitely been more comfortable. He has been more comfortable in this game compared to last week. And part of that is proper week of preparation, not having to come in due to injury. Yeah, him having the time to mentally prepare for this game has helped him. Dump off left side, caught with space for Caden Davis. Going to be a gain of roughly 11 or so. Oh. Yeah, it's a tough way for the season to end for the Stallions. Plumlee gonna play action and look to throw. Now rolling right will slide down just past midfield to about the Birmingham 48. And he's been having a solid showing in this one. I'm happy to see it. All right, so a second and roughly 4. The ruling is a second and 3. Yeah. Plumlee in shotgun back to his left. 2 receiving options to each side. No, 3 receiving options to the left. Going to play action and pass his left side. It's off the mark and incomplete. Looking for, I believe that's Armani Rogers. So a 3rd and 3 coming up. So 3rd and 3. In shotgun back to his right. Gonna hand this off up the middle. Gonna be just shy of the 1st. Fell forward to about the 45.5-yard line. Jalen White. Gonna be inches shy. Hell yeah. There's a 4th and inches. They pass midfield. They're gonna have to go for it. Yeah, Houston has not been a good 4th down team. 5 of 25 is insane. In shotgun back behind him. Handoff up the middle. The second effort push. Is that going to be enough? Based off of where the refs are, I think it will. It was also just a 4th and barely inches. They're going to give him the first. Yeah, that second effort push got him to the 45. Jalen White barely getting enough. It's close, though. He got the first by 0.7 inches. Are you kidding me? And that's exactly why football is a game of inches. So 1st and 10. $10:44 to play in the 3rd. Yeah, Houston just been the better team in this one. In shotgun, back behind him. Gonna hand this off up the middle, and that's gonna be Marcus Major for a gain of roughly 4. Well, yeah, so that wasn't an offensive lineman directly pushing him, and that's why it was fine. We saw it earlier in this game, like when an offensive lineman is directly pushing him, that's where it's not allowed. But if the offensive lineman is pushing a defensive player who just so happens to be trying to push the running back, it's a loophole and thus it's fine. Handoff up the middle, going to be a gain of about 1 yard. Or yeah, if an offensive lineman is pushing a defensive lineman who has the running back stood up, then it's fine. It's those small loopholes. Yeah, it's all schematics, but it matters. In shotgun, back to his right, 3 receivers to the left. Going to look to throw on 3rd and 5. Pressure coming, rolling right, will take it himself to hurdle. And it's enough for the first. John Rice Plumlee going sky high to pick up a gain of 9. I do not remember him doing that with UCF. Hell yeah. I think he did it very infrequently. But John Rice Plumlee showing off that athleticism. hurdling over Stephen Gilmore. So 1st and 10, ball in the Birmingham 32. In shotgun, back to his left. Play action pass, left side is intercepted. It's a foot race for Alex Cook. Past the 40, the 35, the 30, 25-20, stays on his feet. Alex Cook, a pick six for the Stallions. And just like that, they cut into this deficit. He had a defensive touchdown last week against Columbus. He has another this week to try and get the Stallions back into this. With 8:43 to play in the third quarter. All right, one play. All it takes is one play for some momentum to build. All it takes is one play for momentum to build. Could that be it for the Stallions? It's another rough interception for John Rez Plumlee. He had a similar one last week against St. Louis. Right before the end of the half. Extra point is up, and it is good. 10-point Houston lead with 8:43 to go. All right. And we're at commercial break. All right. Again, it's a momentum being built. And some momentum being built. But again, the offense on the other side is going to be the true test. You can't be dependent on the defense to score 20 points in this game. But we're at commercial break after the Alex Cook pick six. And let's see what the Stallions defense can do and how will this Houston offense bounce back from it. All right, should be coming out of the commercial break here soon. Right off the hurdle as well. That's a tough mistake for Plumlee. Cook read that really well. All right, just getting back from commercial break. Birmingham set to send this one down. Yeah. Yeah, it was again, it is just a really heads up play by Alex Cook to realize what Houston was doing there. So 8:43 to play in the third. Yeah, it's a must win for the Stallions. So we'll see. Andres Carlson on to send this one down. His first time kicking off since the opening kick of the game. Going to be returned beginning from the 2. Base out past the 20, past the 25, and brought down right around the 27, maybe 28. And Alex Cook was on the opposite side of the field from where that ball was being thrown to. And he was still able to bite on that and make a very nice play. Yeah, he breaks on that the second the ball is snapped. That is a real heads up play. So 1st and 10, in shotgun, back behind him, 2 receiving options to each side, hands off up the middle, and there's space for Marcus Major. Past the 45, past midfield. Now he has a foot race. Past the 20, the 15, the 10, the 5. Houston responds in one play. It's Marcus Major going the distance. And they re-extend this lead right back to 16. So much for the momentum. And that silences Protective Stadium. All it took was one play. Gee, okay. Yeah, it's great blocking up front. It's good blocking up front. Birmingham targets the wrong hole in the offensive line. The extra point is up, and I think he actually misses this. Yeah, it's no good. Wide right. So it will remain a 16-point lead. But nonetheless, that's a big time carry for Marcus Major. Again, Houston is doing this without 3, really 4 very key pieces to this team. And really kind of 5. Because again, Anthony Hines was waived in between weeks. He's now back with DC. Hunter Deckers is banged up. He's on the sideline, but not playing. And then Marcus Yarns, Jalen Moreno-Cropper, and Major Burns all are not playing in this game due to having NFL tryouts coming up. So Houston is doing this very short-manned. And they're still having an easy time with it. So 8:26 to go. Kickoff underway, gonna bounce at the 1 and be returned beginning from the 2. Base out past the 20 and slipping down to the 21. It'll be 1st and 10. $8:20 to go in the third. Birmingham still haven't not broken just now breaking the huddle. DTR and shotgun back to his left, 3 receivers to the right. Man in motion right to left, ball on their own 21. DTR going to look to throw. Pass over the middle is caught, going to be a gain of about 4 for Deion Kane. And the clock will begin to run. So in shotgun back to his left, 2 receivers to each side. A 2nd and 6. DTR going to hand this off up the middle, and that's going to be a gain of about 2 or 3. So 3rd and 3 coming up. In shotgun, back to his right, 3 receivers to the left. And there's movement up front before the snap. Probably going to be against Birmingham. A false start pushes them back 5. The ball now on their own 23-ish yard line for this 3rd and 8. In shotgun, back to his left, 2 receivers to each side, man in motion along that right side as DTR looks to throw. Pressure comes in instantly. He spikes this in the dirt near the feet of Snoop Connor. The halfback screen goes nowhere. The Stallions offense once again will punt. It's another 3 and out on this second half. And things are looking rough for the Stallions in a must-win game. But time will tell. All right, punt comes off clean. Going to bounce at the 39 and be downed inside the 35 and about the 32. Yeah. As we're at commercial break. Yeah, it was an instant bounce back for that pick 6. It's been a fun one. It's been a fun and interesting one for the gamblers. I mean, I'm enjoying it because I like watching John Rice Plumlee play due to the UCF ties. But it's been something so far. Oh, so we got some information about the new college football and all that stuff, and from what's being leaked, it's a very mixed bag. Oh yeah, it Houston is exceeding my expectations definitely in this game. I'm gonna hold off on like having proper opinions until like the full proper reveal, which is expected to come next week on the 4th. But if it is true that EA is deciding to hold some things locked behind a paywall for even the offline modes, I might not be getting college football this year, which would be a bit weird for me, but we'll see. I wouldn't say this game is the Stallions actually trying. This has been a very poor performance for them. It's not been a great game. Last week's game was them actually trying. This one, not so much. Major Burns is not playing today. Major Burns is one of 3 players that are not playing today because they have an NFL tryout in the coming weeks. So they want to make sure they're healthy for that. Yeah, it's Major Burns, Jalen Moreno-Cropper, and Marcus Yarns. All 3 of those have an NFL tryout in the coming weeks. So they're not playing in this game because of it. But yeah, I hope all 3 of them end up like finding a home somewhere. Yeah. I'm sure there's more for like tomorrow's games that's a similar case with that we just have not heard about yet. But yeah, that's the story with those 3 at least. And even with that, even with that, Houston's playing really damn good football. 65 yards of offense allowed at this point, and we're more than halfway into the third quarter. Yes, Kerry Vincent is playing. He made a play earlier in this one. Plumlee in shotgun, back to his left. 3 receivers to the left as well. Gonna hand this off, going right for Kirk Merritt. Trying to bounce it out left side. Has a lane. Some good blocking will be out of bounds for a gain of roughly 4 or 5, but there is a penalty. That's probably gonna call this back due to a blindside block. Yeah, blindside block against the Stallions. Says it sounds against Houston. This is coming back. It's hot out there. I'm not surprised. I get medical treat. Damn. I mean, I'm not surprised it's hot, but for it to be that hot, jeez. Yeah, blindside block being called against Javonte Payton. I'm like, I'm in South Florida, and it's been hot here. It's also been raining a shit ton. But for it to be that hot in Birmingham, I'm a bit shocked, but at the same time, again, I figured it was gonna be a hot one today. We're just seeing the first stage of it, so it's hard to really gauge it so far. Hell, we're not even in the first proper stage. We're probably still in the first stage. But I'm interested to see kind of how the team looks next year. No, Tyreek already got cut. He ain't coming back. Plumlee in shotgun, 3 receivers to the left, 2 to the right, looking to throw in 1st and 25. Rolling right, gonna get the sideline and pick up a gain of about 4. Yeah, Tyreek got cut around the same time Tua did. Or maybe a little like a month or so before. But I expect Tyreek to sign on somewhere in like October or November with a contender, and for him to be like that missing piece for an offense. Oh yeah, and yeah. Also with Miami news, I don't expect a lot of people to be in the know for this season. In shotgun, back to his left, gonna hand this off up the middle on 2nd and 20, and that's another gain of about 4 or 5. Chiefs would be my first bet in terms of where he would go, but it was gonna largely depend on what the landscape of the league is come October, late October, early November. I think that's when he'll sign, assuming he's healthy by then. Because again, assuming that the most healthy he is potentially 70%, that's still a pretty good receiver 2 or 3 for a team. Gonna hand off up the middle on 3rd and 16. It's only a gain of about a yard for Jalen White, so Houston now will punt. The blindside block killed the drive. Yeah, a 70% healthy Tyreek Hill is still better than most. It's still better than most teams' current receiver 3s, I feel. So again, I expect him to sign on somewhere. Question is just when. Yeah, Houston's not the best second half team, but a 16-point cushion, I think is good enough with how Birmingham's been playing. Punt comes off clean, will be out of bounds around the 38. Yeah, and then before that against St. Louis as well, it was only a 3-point second half. It's not been great, but again, there's enough leeway with this point cushion where I think they'll be fine. We await Birmingham's next drive. In shotgun, looking to throw DTR pass left side's a bit behind and incomplete. Nearly picked off by Quinton Newsome. 2nd and 10 coming up. Oh yeah, I think the Kings clinch a playoff spot today. Because based off this score, the Stallions are probably going to lose, and the Stallions losing clinches a spot for Louisville. DTR and shotgun back to his right, going to look to throw in 2nd and 10. Pass left side, low and incomplete. 3rd and 10 coming up. 3:07 to play in the third. Third and 10. Swing shotgun back to his right. 3 receiving options to the left. 3rd and 10. Because Matt Corral was not playing well enough for the Stallions. It wasn't playing well enough. They needed a change at quarterback. So trading him was the best way to do it. DTR well behind the line. He's going to launch this one deep right side for pretty much a throwaway. But that might be intentional ground in. Either way, it's a 3 and out once again for the Stallions offense. And Matt Corral was good in college. He played good for the Stallions the past 2 or so years. It's just he did not fit what the Stallions wanted to do offensively this season. So DTR was the guy they traded for, and for a while it looked like he fit the offense better. But then teams, had more tape on him and how the offense ran, so they were able to adjust better. All right, punt comes off clean. Going to be returned beginning from the 3. And going to fight his way to about the 9. Like, the Stallions as a whole have a lot to work on in the offseason. So we'll see. So 1st and 10 for Houston. I am watching the game. I have it up on my top monitor here on ESPN too. Plumlee and shotgun going to hand this off up the middle. And now it's going to be a gain of about a yard. Yeah. Because if I was just using like the ESPN or the UFL websites play-by plays, like it's not pointed. Thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, this is my third year covering this league. I started once this league formed back in 2024. I do the NFL as well. So when that rolls around, I go live with a bunch of games for the NFL season. Plumlee and shotgun back to his left. 3 receivers to the right. A 2nd and 9. Gonna hand this off up the middle, and there's some space for Marcus Major. Breaks off 1 tackle, gonna fight his way and spin his way down to about the 24-yard line. There is a penalty marker down, though. What's the penalty? It is holding against Houston, so this is coming back. Half the distance to the goal. That's a tough one. 1:03 to play in the third. Yeah, for the NFL, I do every primetime game, every Dolphin game, and then other games sprinkled here and there, depending on the scheduling. So I know for week 1, I'm doing 6 games. Because we have the kickoff game Wednesday, the Australia game Thursday, Dolphin game on 4 o'clock Sunday, Sunday night, and Monday Night Football. I think there's one more, maybe. Might be forgetting. So there's either 5 or 6. I try to do 5 games a week for the NFL, depending on how everything forms out. Yeah, I do Texans games occasionally. Handoff up the middle, going to be stuffed at the line for no gain. So Houston now goes 3 and out once again. Yeah, like, if the Texans play on prime time, I go live with those. Depending on when Miami plays, I'll go like if Miami plays at 1 o'clock, I tend to do a 4 o'clock game as well. So like if Texans played there and they play an opponent, I think it's gonna be a good game with. I'll go live with it. But Oh, so yeah, now it's third down. Plumlee and shotgun looking to throw, dump off right side, going to be caught with some space and not going to be enough for the first either way on the 3rd and 13. So they have the punt nonetheless, so 3 and out. Everything still stands put. But it is the end of the third quarter. 15 minutes remain. Stallions down by 16. Playoff hopes on the line. Let's see if they can mount a comeback. Yes, like week 1, I know I'm not going live with a 1 o'clock game. Same with week 2, because Miami plays on 4 o'clock in both of those weeks, because they're on the West Coast trip to begin the season. So, yeah. What is the full Texans schedule? Because I'm gonna try and go live with a good handful of those. Malik Fisher has been a fantastic player in the UFL, both this season with Houston and previous years. I am kind of shocked he has not been given a full chance in the NFL, but oh well. We'll see. Yeah, he has been a really damn good player. Houston has 5 straight 1 o'clock games to begin the season. Yeah, sure. Yeah, so like for week 6, I will be live with. As that game's in international, isn't it? I might be live for the week 6 international game. International games I kind of go back and forth on, but that's a maybe. I want to be depending on how the Jaguars look by that point. Yeah, it's a 9:30 a.m. kick, so depending on how Jacksonville looks, I might go live with that. But that's the same week as Miami's bye week, so most likely I will decide to say screw it and go live with 4 games that day. We'll see. Why does Miami have so many 4 o'clock games to begin the season? 4:05 kick is tough one. Oh, that's why most of the Texans primetime games are in the back half of the season. Okay, that's why this looked weird. Okay, yeah. So all those primetime games I'll be live with. But that commercial break for the end of the third quarter. Miami schedule can be fun this year. I'm happy that Buffalo fans are seeing some success now, but I don't want them to win the Super Bowl or anything. I still don't want them to win a lot. But there is a ton of players on Buffalo that I could easily see myself rooting for if they were on any other team. Josh Allen, the main one. If Josh Allen was on any other team besides the Bills or even another AFC East team, he would easily be my favorite quarterback in the league. I love watching him play. The stuff he can do is fantastic. I hate that he's on Buffalo because I don't want him to win a ring. But he's easily one of my top quarterbacks to watch. Punt comes off clean, going to be out of bounds around the 41. Oh yeah, my hatred towards New England is still greater than my hatred towards Buffalo. But obviously Buffalo has been a pain in our side the past few years. But but because Buffalo hasn't won a Super Bowl yet, even with their dominance they've had, I don't feel the same hatred for them as I did New England when they were winning and making Super Bowls constantly, while also being insanely dominant in the division. So that's where the difference is for me. A ball on the Houston 48-yard line. DTR, quick pass left side, a bit behind Anthony McFarland and incomplete. So 2nd and 10. I like Seattle. It was fun seeing them. It was fun seeing them win the Super Bowl last year. They were a fun team to watch. All right. Hope you stick around. See you next time. Appreciate it. I'll be live with both of the games tomorrow as well. Stallions can have to burn a timeout here as they were not going to get the snap off in time. Yeah, I've always been kind of indifferent with Seattle. For the longest time, they're like, I love their Brandon for the most part, especially the throwbacks. But even their current like modern stuff, I like it. Like I'm typically indifferent. That's the case with pretty much the entire NFC. Well, like I'll be fine seeing any of them win it. I don't really care. The AFC, there's more like interconference rival stuff, but for the most part, as long as it's not the AFC East or like the Patriots, Bills, and Jets, I just want to watch good football at the end of the day. DTR takes it himself on 2nd and 10. Gonna get a gain of roughly 5. I do need to start working on my off-season NFL stuff. So 3rd and 5, DTR and shotgun back to his right, 3 receivers to the left. Ball on the Houston 43-yard line, gonna look to throw. Pass right side is caught, breaks off one tackler. Pass space inside the 30 and down to about the 26. That is a new receiver. It's Kyrick McGowan on the reception, his first grab of the season. He's not even listed on the proper depth chart side. He's off. That's an interesting one. In shotgun, going to hand this off up the middle, and there's some space past the 25 to about 24. It's a gain of 2. So 2nd and 8 coming up. So 2nd and 8. DTR and shotgun back to his right, 3 receivers to the left. That ball more so on the 23-yard line. Going to look to throw. Pressure coming, pass over the middle is off the mark and incomplete. Looking for McGowan once again. It's a 3rd and 7, and DTR is a bit slow to get up here. He got hit while releasing that ball. This is a big drive for the Stallions. There's a 3rd and 7. DTR and shotgun back to his right. 3 receivers to the left. Going to look to throw with some time. Pass over the middle. Wide open for Jaden Mickens. Inside the 10 and down to the 5. And DTR is still a little shaken up. Yeah, DTR is still a bit shaken up even after that play. His hands were on his knees. And he didn't get a hit there. First and goal. First goal to go situation of the game for the Stallions. DTR in shotgun, back to his left, 3 receivers to the right. Going to look to throw, pass left side, end zone, it's caught! Kyrick McGowan on the grab. And it's a 1-possession game from Birmingham, potentially. The extra point will make it a 1-possession game early on in the 4th quarter. But that's a nice goal line fade ball there for Dorian Thompson-Robinson and Kyrick McGowan. Kind of coming out of nowhere here on the season. First real snaps. And he has the Stallions offense now on the board. And they're going to go for 2. Trying to make it an 8-point game. In shotgun, back to his right. 3 receivers to the right as well. Just under 11.5 to play in the quarter and in the game. Pass right side is well off the mark and incomplete. Not sure who DTR was going to there, but it will remain a 10-point lead and remain a 2-possession game for Houston. One more drive could be the icing for the Gamblers. And we head to commercial break off of it as well. And we're at commercial break. All right, 11.5 to play in the game. Them not getting the 2-point conversion is gonna probably end up hurting them in this. Because it remaining a 2-score game is gonna be tough. But at commercial break still. Alright. As we're nearing the end of this one. Alright. Again, it's been solid. It's been a solid one. Houston's second half issues are definitely showing. But part of that is also just tough starting field position. And also bad penalties against them. But let's see. So that commercial break. Should be getting out of it here soon. Alright, just getting back from commercial break. Andres Carlson on to send this one down. And yeah, DTR is still under 50% completion on the game. But they're in this. They're still right in this. So we'll see. There's John Rice Plumlee on the sideline. Again, really good first half. They had a good play. They had a good play on their first offensive drive in the second half. No, their second offensive drive in the second half. Bounce it back after the pick 6. What they got in store here. Kickoff underway. Going to be returned beginning from the 3. Base out past the 20, past the 25. Trying to flip the field, getting past the 30. And going to be brought down right around the 32. Caden Davis on the return. Not a bad return. So out comes John Rice Plumlee. Looking to put the icing on this one. So 1st and 10. Plumlee in shotgun back to his right. 3 receiving options to the left. Ball on their own 32. Play action looking to throw. Rolling right. Trying to buy some time and just going to get down and play it safe. A sack at the 25-yard line. Probably going to credit. I'm going to credit with that. Probably going to credit Deontay Johnson on the sack there. But again, the second half, they are focusing heavy on containing Plumlee. Whereas in the first half, they were just more so trying just to get home instead of containing. Because through containing, you can get home. Plumlee rolling left, gonna pass this left side wide open for the first and more. It's Lawrence Keys past midfield and brought down right around the 45. Still not a great throw. It was a wobbler, but he's wide open. It gets it there. Through containing Plumlee, they're able to eventually get home and again force him to beat him with his arm. There's two wide open gamblers on that play though, so Houston has the ball. Plumlee in shotgun, back to his right. 3 receivers to the right as well. Ball now on the Birmingham 44. Gonna hand this off, going left for Jalen White. And that's gonna be a loss of roughly 2. But time still begins to tick. And it still rolls. 9:45 in counting to play in this. So second and roughly 12. At least saying second and 11, being a bit generous with the spot there. Plumlee in shotgun, back behind him. 2 receiving options to each side. Gonna hand this off up the middle, and there's space. Jalen White for the first and more. Inside the 20 and tripped up right around the 17. It's 1st and 10. Houston inside the red zone with 9 minutes to play. The defense has looked like they cared the entire game. The offense, not so much. The offense has been rough. I mean, it took until 11 and a half to play in the 4th quarter for them to find the end zone and get points on the board. Like, that's the thing. The offense has been struggling. DTR is under 50% completion. He has the 1 touchdown pass now, but even then, it's still not great. Handoff left side, going to be stuffed at the line for no gain. There's a lot of 3 and outs. There's a lot of just weird decisions. Off-target throws. Offensive line not playing the greatest either. And now with 2 timeouts and the clock beginning to roll, it's a weird spot. Yeah, since week 2, the Gamblers have not been a good 4th quarter team. Which, funny enough, the last time they scored a touchdown in the 4th quarter was against the Stallions. And here they are, 2nd and 10 from the Stallion 18-yard line. Handoff for Kirk Merritt going right. And going to be met behind the line for a loss of 2. There is also a penalty down in the backfield. Going to be holding against the Gamblers. So we'll see if Birmingham accepts this or not. Yeah, of course. I mean, again, if... It's some... I have the mindset of, what's the point? Like, if I'm not answering questions, then what's the difference between me doing this and just watching the broadcast? So, yeah, I'm gonna. So I like reading chat for that reason. Well, it's just it's just getting to know people and all that, and talking. I like talking football and sports, so why not just keep doing them? In shotgun, back to his right, 3 receivers to the right as well. 2nd and 20. Plumlee rolling right, gonna pass this deep right side for the end zone's off the mark and incomplete. There's 7:14 left in the game. It's a soon to be a 13-point Houston lead. So out there's a small bit of hope for Birmingham. A good chunk will depend on how this next drive looks for the Stallions. But For now, I'm willing to say there's a spark. That's how I put it. There is a spark of life. In shotgun, back behind him, two receivers to each side, a 3rd and 20. Play action looking to throw, Plumlee rolling right, and going to just throw this one away, incomplete. Barely avoids the sack. Gonna keep them in field goal range for John Hoyland. That was nearly a dangerous one. Yeah, no one's open on the back end. Yep. I'm a Dolphins fan, so the rebuild's gonna be interesting this season. Pretty much entire life. I'm born and raised South Florida, so 46-yard kick is up and is right down the middle. Like first year of like properly like remembering stuff is probably 2010, 2012. Like but yeah, it's been as long as I can remember. It's been Miami football. Like the oldest memory I have of going to a game was 2012, but I do still remember some things from before then, so it's a bit weird. All right, at commercial break. There's about 6 minutes to play in this. So at commercial break. Should be coming out of commercial break here soon. Yeah, no, I turned 21 back in February, so I'm definitely on the younger side, so I'm a bit more hopeful at times with this team because I haven't been burned for as long, but yeah. It's still nice. I still have a lot of like appreciation for all those older teams as well because like I growing up I was like growing up a Dolphins fan in the early 2010s and late 2000s, not a lot to go based off of, so you see a lot of highlights from those Marino teams and even the 70s teams, so I have appreciation for all that. I have a ton of books off to the side for those teams that I've read. It was NFL history as a whole. All right, just getting back from commercial break. And that last drive for Birmingham was solid. They're gonna need two more of those, basically. Oh yeah, I can. Anthony's is okay. Pizza is not my go-to, but like I'm not gonna say no to it either. My more so go-tos is like I don't know. It's tough to say with South Florida what my go-to is because a lot of it is just like really local stuff. So I don't want to say like the exact specifics. Like local pizza is always fun. In Orlando, there's one local chain that is top notch that I love. Kickoff going to be returned up past the 20 and down to about the 24 for Dion Kane. Oh, hell yeah, that's nice. Penalty marker down on the kickoff. We'll see what this is. Illegal double team block against the Stallions. So we have the distance to the goal, and they'll start from back up there. Yeah. And I I think my favorite pizza place though is the one in is there's one in Orlando that has like big size pizza slices and it's just good. I try to go there anytime I can. DTR looking to throw in first and 10, pass over the middle is caught by Jaden Mickens. Gets up and has some space. Pass to 25 and finally brought down near the 27. Those that right there is a yards back from the penalty on the kickoff. So first and 10. Oh no! So if it was a more like proper chain place, I would say the name and give free promo because it's damn good. But because of how like very specifically local the place is, I'm not going to just yet because I'm still in that area frequently. During like NFL season and stuff, so just out of precaution. No, like, for example, my go-to pregame meal for Dolphins games is Dave's Hot Chicken. Not sponsored, but it's damn good food. I love Dave's Hot Chicken. DTR pass right side gonna be just underthrown and incomplete. Looking for Jaden Mickens, who had a step, a mere speed, nearly with the interception. It's just I like play I'm always more cautious with stuff because you never know with the internet and people on the internet, so it's just precautionary stuff and me being probably overly cautious, but still. Again, with how local the places are, it's not it pinpoints to the area. DTR dump off left side going to be Snoop Connor with some space, trying to find more room, goes backwards a bit, and maybe gains only by the yard. No. Oh yeah, I liked DTR when he was with Cleveland. I was one of the few people that were like, give him a full season. It's just they never did, and give or take probably for the best, depending on how you view the Browns' current situation. In shotgun, looking to throw in third and 9. Pass over the middle is off the mark and incomplete. So fourth and 9. You're down by 13 with 4:20 to play in this game. Are you punting? They're punting this ball. This is a borderline surrender if I've seen one. This is crazy. With only two timeouts, I mean, it's all Houston needs like two or three first downs. Punt comes off clean. Going to be returned beginning from the 20. Spaced out past the 25 and down to about the 30. All right. Yeah, Orlando and St. Louis are the 1 and 2 seeds guaranteed. But again, dude, so even with Orlando being the 1 seed, their playoff game is going to be a neutral site game due to scheduling conflicts and stuff between Orlando, Inter and Co Stadium, and the World Cup. That's just the nature of things. So that game's going to be neutral site. In shotgun, going to hand this off up the middle, and that's going to be a gain of about 5 for Houston. It's Jalen White on the carry. 3:35 to play. Adrian McCarron, all smiles on that sideline. I mean, yeah. Again, you're punting down by 13 with about 4 minutes to play with 2 timeouts. That's you surrendering. Like that was a insane decision. In shotgun, back behind him. Gonna hand this off up the middle for Jalen White, and that's gonna be a gain of roughly 3. Yeah. I haven't heard of that place. Even if I'm also not a massive steak person. So one more play needed before the 2-minute warning. Lorraine, yeah. Yeah, the Stallions are gonna have a lot of questions in the offseason. In shotgun, back behind him, gonna hand this off up the middle for Jalen White. That's enough for the first. The gain of 3. That'll get us to the 2-minute warning. And the Houston Gamblers, with that carry, sets a single game record for rushing yards in a game. 275 yards and more to come. It's been crazy. I appreciate it. Yeah. I mentioned earlier, I go live with a bunch of games for the NFL as well. I go live with a ton of NFL games also, so stick around. Really appreciate it. I know. So there's some reports that they're gonna give the Stallions at least one more season, which is the smart move. But I would be expecting it to be in a different stadium. I think that they would sooner try Hoover Met than completely move the team because the Stallions belong in spring football. So I think they would sooner try them in a different stadium that's smaller capacity and everything than relocate them just yet. So I would expect that to be the move for next year, and then from there, who knows? But we'll see. They're gonna have a lot of discussions about it, I'm sure. Yeah, that would be the one problem, but at the same time, you can schedule it around SEC baseball. I mean, we saw with Dallas this year that they had 3 home games to begin the season. You could do something similar with that, where you just have a ton of home games to begin the year. But then, like, yeah, if playoffs and all that, it could be an issue. We'll see. We'll see. As we're at commercial break for the 2-minute warning. I'm also curious about Houston because their attendance numbers weren't great this season, but at the same time, like they had a pretty solid end of the season. Hunter Decker's being back massively helps them. I want to see Houston in the same stadium for back-to-back seasons. I want to see that before I make any true judgment calls on Houston. No, Houston got eliminated last week with the loss to St. Louis, but they are playing spoiler. This win tonight is gonna play spoiler as it will eliminate the Stallions. So it does make tomorrow's games a bit non-factors, but there is still something at play tomorrow, and that is DC and Louisville are gonna be playing for playoff seeding. If either DC loses or Louisville wins tomorrow, Louisville will be the 3rd seed and play St. Louis in the playoffs in St. Louis. If DC wins and the Kings lose, they would be playing Orlando in historic Crew Stadium in Columbus. So there's definitely still stuff at play tomorrow, but it's not going to be a playoff spot. Yeah, Yeah, it's not a good game for Dorian Thompson-Robinson. 13 for 28 passing. One more first down will do it. Plumlee in shotgun, back behind him, 3 receiving options to the right. Gonna hand this off up the middle for Jalen White, and that's a gain of a yard. And there's a timeout being called, I assume, by Birmingham, right? Yep, there's the second timeout being called. So 2nd and 9. A minute 53 to play. Yeah, and in back-to-back seasons, it's very similar to where they started the year very sluggish. But the second half of the season, they were on and one. Like, they were playing some really good football. This Houston defense, the final 6 months of the season, is a top tier I think a top 3 defense in the league. Plumlee handoff left side for Jalen White, gonna fight his way past the 45. Eventually stood up right around the 48. So a 3rd and 3 coming up. And Birmingham will call their final timeout. Third and 3 coming up. So 3rd and 3. It's good to see Plumlee out there for a full game and getting a win. It feels nice. I'm curious on what's going to be going on next season with him. And if he'll be back in Houston. Plumlee in shotgun back behind him. Some movement up front. Penalty marker down. They're going to get Birmingham on this. Or they're saying there's some movement for Houston. It's encroachment against Birmingham. An automatic first down for Houston. Being called against TJ Carter, and that will do it. Yeah. If Houston had consistent quarterback play this season, aka if Hunter Deckers did not get hurt, I think we see Houston in the playoffs. And that's a tough one. That is tough. But again, Hunter Deckers is, to me, Hunter Deckers is the clear starter next year. I'm curious on what Kevin Sumlin is thinking. As there's the first kneel down, gonna need about 2 more of those. But with this outcome, the Louisville Kings get that final playoff spot. We have 2 new teams in the playoffs on their first seasons. Orlando, the 1 seed. As of now, Louisville, the 3rd seed. So pretty solid way. And for the Kings to make the playoffs, after how they started the year, the 1-3 start, the tough overtime loss to Orlando in week 3, a tough loss to Birmingham in week 1, for them to still make the playoffs, again, winning 5 of their last 6 or so, it has been very impressive. And it'll take 1 more kneel down. Yeah. 1 more kneel down and it'll be over. Yeah, I'm curious about DC. Them making the playoffs is interesting to me. Because without Jordan Teamu, it's gonna be, their style of play, I just don't think it's gonna last. Well, there's Plumlee, the final kneel down. And the playoffs are all but fully set. We have the teams. Tomorrow we'll figure out the exact stand-ins and the seed-in. As the Birmingham Stallions, for the first time in a long time, will not be making the playoffs and will not potentially be spring champions. This is going to be a weird one. It's going to be a weird one. Houston ends the season strong, though. Yeah, DC clinched last week. DC clinched their spot last week. All that's left is to figure out who they'll be playing. That'll be figured out tomorrow. I appreciate everyone tuning in. 2 more games left in the UFL regular season. I'll be live for all 3 playoff games as well, as the season is slowly coming to a close. I appreciate everyone tuning in. I don't say this too often, but subscribe. It'd be greatly appreciated. I'll see you all tomorrow. See you all next time, if not tomorrow. Have yourselves a damn good one. Peace.